Ella stood at the edge of the old oak tree in the park, her heart heavy with memories. Every autumn afternoon, she and her friend Marcus used to meet here. They would sit on the bench beneath the rustling leaves and talk about their dreams. But now, the bench was empty, and the leaves whispered secrets she could no longer hear. It had been 3 months since Marcus moved across the ocean. He had gone to start a new life in a distant city that smelled of salt and rain. Ella remembered the night he left, the loud engines of the plane, the hollow ache in her chest, and the tight hug they shared before he walked down the jet bridge. She waved until he disappeared into the terminal's bright lights. Since then, Ella felt a strange distance grow inside her. She tried to call him, but time zones and busy schedules turned their voices into short messages. "Good morning," he would write at 6 a.m. her time, and she would reply, "Good night," at midnight his time. Their words crossed like ships in the night, each missing the chance to dock and unload the true warmth of their friendship. Ella missed their walks along the riverbank. She missed the way Marcus laughed when a duck bobbed too close to their feet. She missed the late evenings when they shared hot cocoa and talked late into the night. Now her cocoa grew cold as she sat alone by the window, staring at the empty cup. She tried sending Marcus's little gifts postcards with bright pictures of the oak tree, handmade bookmarks, and even a small jar of honey from her favorite farmers market. She hoped these tokens would bridge the gap. She worried they might feel too small against the vast ocean between them. One day, Ella found herself wandering through his old room. The posters on the walls were gone, and his bookshelf was missing. The empty shelves looked like gaps in her memories. She ran her fingers across the smooth wood and closed her eyes. She could almost hear Marcus's voice telling her about his favorite books. That night, Ella sat at her desk with a pen and paper. She decided she would write a true letter, not a quick text. She wrote about the starry night they watched together in the park. She told him how the constellations reminded her of their dreams and how she still believed they could reach the stars. She asked him how he was, what he saw every morning, and what made him smile. She told him she missed him more than words could say. When she finally mailed the letter, Ella felt a flicker of hope. She imagined Marcus opening the envelope, reading her words, and feeling closer. For the first time in months, her sadness felt lighter. She believed that the strength inside her, her human strength to hope and reach out, could cross any distance. Days later, a letter arrived from Marcus. His handwriting curved across the page like a friendly wave. He wrote about the salty breeze by his window and the bustling markets at dawn. He described the tall buildings that glowed like lanterns at night. He told Ella he missed their quiet talks and the way her laughter made him feel brave. As Ella read, tears of joy rolled down her cheeks. She felt her heart stretch across the miles and wrap around Marcus's words. She learned that even though they were far apart, their friendship could grow stronger. She realized that humans, in their best moments, find ways to connect no matter the distance. That evening, Ella stood under the oak tree again. She held Marcus's letter close to her chest. The wind stirred the branches, and she felt as though Marcus was there beside her. She spoke aloud into the quiet park. "I will not let distance win. I will keep reaching out." With renewed hope, Ella pulled out her phone and scheduled a video call for the next weekend. She practiced her smile in the reflection of the screen and imagined hearing Marcus's laugh again. She felt a warmth grow inside her. The oak tree's leaves shimmered as if applauding her resolve. Ella knew the miles still lay between them, but she also knew that hope was a powerful thing. It could spark light in the darkest nights and build bridges across oceans. She held the letter tight and whispered, "We will find our way back to each other." Under the glow of the setting sun, Ella walked home with a lighter step. Her human spirit, full of courage and hope, guided her forward. She would keep sending letters and video calls. She would hold on to every memory and make new ones. No matter how far Marcus had gone, Ella refused to let their friendship fade. In her heart, she carried the promise that they would meet again under the old oak tree, where distance could not touch them. Ella woke early the next morning with the sun's first light slipping through her curtains. She felt a gentle flutter of hope in her chest. Yesterday's letter and Marcus's reply had brightened her world. Now, she had a video call planned for that afternoon. Yet she also felt a knot of fear. What if the call froze? What if she sounded awkward? What if distance made it impossible to feel close again? All morning, Ella paced her room. She brushed her hair, arranged her favorite mug on the desk, and practiced greeting Marcus in her mind. "Hi, Marcus. It's so good to see you." She said it softly to the empty room. She smiled at her reflection and whispered, "You can do this." When afternoon came, Ella's heart pounded. She logged into the video call app and stared at the screen. Small circles spun. Then Marcus's face appeared, framed by the window behind him. Bright light fell on his hair. He waved shyly. "Ella," he said, voice full of surprise and warmth. "Hi, Marcus," she replied, voice trembling but steady. "I'm so happy to see you." They smiled at each other for a long moment. The seconds stretched like thin threads tying their hearts together again. Then they began to talk. Marcus told Ella about his new apartment and the view of the ocean. Ella described the park's oak tree, now glowing gold with autumn leaves. But after a while, the call stuttered. The video froze on Marcus's face, mouth open mid-sentence. Voice echoed. "Are you there?" The screen went dark. She clicked and clicked, but nothing happened. Frustration welled up inside her. She felt the old distance creeping back. Ella ended the call and sank into her chair. The empty screen depressed her. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Then she remembered her human strength, her HFY, spirit of hope and determination. "I will not give up," she told herself. She thought of the many ways people connect across time and space. She remembered pen pals who wrote letters by hand. She thought of messages in bottles that drifted across the sea. She thought of signals sent by lanterns and flags. If humans could send rockets to the moon, she could find a way to send her care to Marcus's side. Ella opened her laptop again, searched for a service that delivered care packages overseas. She found one that could wrap a small box and send it in 3 days. Inside the box, she decided to include her handmade bookmark, the jar of honey, and a new gift, a small knitted scarf in Marcus's favorite colors. She cut bright paper and wrote a note. "For cold mornings by the sea. Love, Ella." She printed the note and folded it carefully. Then she packed everything in the box. With each item she placed, she felt closer to Marcus. She felt her hope grow into action. Packing the box, she thought, even if we cannot talk, we can still share ourselves. The next day, Ella walked to the post office. The air was crisp, and the oak tree in the park wore a canopy of red and gold. She carried the box like a precious treasure. At the counter, she paid the fees and watched the clerk attach stickers to the package. The clerk smiled and said, "Special delivery to a friend overseas." "That's sweet." Ella nodded. "Yes, he's my best friend. I want him to know I care." As she left, Ella felt proud. She had acted on her hope. She had bridged the gap. In a new way, back at home, she wrote in her journal, "I sent a care package today. I hope it reaches him soon. I will keep trying." 3 days later, Ella received a video message from Marcus. His scarf wrapped around his neck, the honey jar on his desk. His smile shone through the screen. "Ella, thank you," he said. "This scarf feels like a hug. The honey is amazing. And your letter, wow?" The video stuttered less this time. His message played smoothly, his eyes bright.
"Oh."
Ella watched and felt tears of happiness. Marcus held up the bookmark and ran his thumb over its edge. "I read your letter every night," he said. "I can almost see the oak tree when I close my eyes." Ella's heart swelled. She pressed play again and again, memorizing his words and expressions. She felt their friendship grow stronger. The care package had worked where the video call failed. It had carried her warmth across oceans. That evening, Ella wrote back immediately. She planned another video call, but she also looked into sending small packets of postcards, recipes, and drawings. She would not let technical problems stop her. She believed that with creativity and hope, humans could connect over any distance. As night fell, Ella stood by her window. The oak tree's branches reached upward, silhouetted against the stars. She raised her hand and whispered, "Good night, Marcus." Though he was far away, she felt him nearby. Their friendship was alive, glowing like the constellations they once watched together. Ella smiled and turned away, her human spirit unbroken. She knew that every effort she made carried a piece of her across the sea. She knew that hope and action could close any gap, and she held on to the promise that soon, through letters, video messages, and small gifts, she and Marcus would feel as close as they ever had beneath the old oak tree. Ella woke early again, sunlight spilling through her window like a warm promise. She smiled as she remembered Marcus's video message. His face had glowed with joy when he held up the scarf she sent. Ella felt her heart lift her hope had carried. Across the ocean, yet a small ache remained. She still longed for real moments together, not just messages and packages. All morning, Ella thought of new ways to bridge the distance. She paced by her desk, looking at the photo of her and Marcus under the oak tree. Ideas flickered in her mind. First, she tried sending voice notes. She recorded herself reading a poem they once loved. Her voice felt soft in the recording, but Marcus replied that it warmed his room like a song. Ella laughed when she heard his reply, a short, cheerful note recorded with his morning light behind him. Encouraged, Ella tried something bolder. She signed up for an online cooking class and sent Marcus the link, hoping he would join her. The class would teach them to bake bread together even if they were continents apart. They could share the same recipe and time. Ella imagined their screens side by side, flour on their hands, and laughter in their voices. She messaged him, "Let's bake sourdough next Sunday at 4 p.m. your time. I'll be in my kitchen, and I hope you will be in. Yours." She pressed send and held her breath. A few hours later, Marcus replied with 3 emojis, a loaf of bread, a rolling pin, and a smile. Then he wrote, "I'm in. I'll be there." Ella felt a wave of triumph. Humans could solve great puzzles, send rockets to space, and now she would pivot to baking bread across the world. She cleared her desk, set up her laptop near the stove, and placed her ingredients in neat bowls. She even printed a small card with the recipe steps, decorated with tiny drawings of wheat. Arrived. Ella's kitchen smelled of yeast and warm water. Her laptop camera showed her bright smile and the bowl of dough beside her. Marcus appeared on the screen wearing an apron. His kitchen looked smaller, but his excitement filled the frame. "Hi, Ella," said, holding up a measuring cup. "Hi, Marcus," she replied. "Are you ready?" They measured flour, water, salt, and starter together. When Ella's dough felt too sticky, Marcus suggested more flour. When his dough rose too fast, Ella told him to punch it down gently. They guided each other with kindness and laughter. For a moment, the ocean between them felt like a narrow river. As the loaves baked, Ella and Marcus sat in their kitchens, sipping tea. They talked about memories and new dreams. Ella told Marcus about the oak tree's bare branches now, waiting for spring. Marcus described the ocean waves shattering on rocks by his apartment. Their voices carried hope and familiarity. When the bread was done, golden and crackling, they each bit a warm slice. Ella closed her eyes. The crust was crisp, the inside soft. She savored the taste and the moment. Marcus nodded, crumbs on his lip, and they both laughed at how proud they felt. After the call, Ella felt a deep sense of connection. She wrote in her journal, "We baked together today. Felt like we shared a hug." She folded the pages. With a gentle smile, but distance still weighed on her heart. She missed Marcus's presence in the real world, walking by the river, sharing hot cocoa on cold nights. She wondered if she could visit him. She checked flight prices and saw they were high, yet she did not give up. She opened her savings app on her phone and started a small fund called Visit Marcus. Each week, she transferred a little money into it, she told herself. One day soon, I will stand beside him again. To keep the hope alive, Ella began writing a short blog. She called it Across the Oak Tree. In it, she shared stories of their friendship, the baking experiment, the messages, and her dreams of reunion. She posted pictures of her scarf wrapped around her neck and recipes for the bread they baked. She invited Marcus and anyone who read to share their own maps of distant friendships. Ella worked on the blog each evening. She chose simple words so anyone could read. She added photos, doodles, and little anecdotes. With each post, she felt her hope widen into a bridge others could cross too. Comments from friends of friends lifted her spirits. Some wrote about their own distant friends. Marcus sent her a message. "Your blog makes me feel close to you, even when I walk by the sea. Thank you." That night, Ella stood under the oak tree once more. The air was cool, and the moon shone through the branches. She held her phone and read Marcus's message again. She whispered to the tree, "Thank you for helping us grow." She touched the bark gently and felt rooted and strong, like the tree itself. Ella's human spirit, her HFY, would not let her give in to sadness. She would keep sending messages, baking bread, saving money, and writing her blog. She would keep reaching out until the day she could embrace Marcus again. The distance was real, but her hope was stronger. She believed that human hope could light the darkest nights and bring friends back together. No matter how far apart they stood, Ella woke before dawn, her heart full of quiet determination. She slipped from bed and dressed in soft clothes. Today, she decided she would try something new to reconnect with Marcus. The morning air was cool as she stepped outside and walked to the oak tree. Its bare branches reached up like friendly arms. Ella stood under the tree and closed her eyes. She thought of Marcus's laughter, his bright eyes, and the way he always knew how to make her smile. She whispered, "I won't give up." Back inside, Ella sat at her desk and opened her laptop. She already had her blog across the oak tree, but she wanted to add a new idea, a shared story project. She typed a post inviting Marcus and other friends to help her write a story together. She explained that each person could add a paragraph about a place they loved. Ella created a simple online document and shared the link. She paused, her finger hovering over the send button. What if no one joined? What if Marcus forgot? But she remembered the times when humans stood together to solve great challenges. She thought of explorers crossing oceans, inventors building bridges, and poets sharing words across borders. She clicked share. A small thrill ran through her. Within hours, notifications popped up. Friends from school, neighbors, and even Marcus joined. Marcus posted first. He wrote about the sea's edge near his apartment, where waves sang. A soft song. Ella's eyes filled with tears. She felt her hope shine brighter. She opened the shared document and added her paragraph about the oak tree, its sturdy trunk, and how it held memories of their talks. As the day passed, the story grew. A friend in Canada wrote about snowy mountains. A classmate in India added notes about spicy street food in her town. Each paragraph carried warmth. Ella read every word and felt connected to each person. Did she? Could picture Marcus reading their words and smiling. That night, Ella and Marcus arranged another video call. This time, they would read the shared story together. Ella set up her laptop near the lamp and opened the document to the first page. When Marcus appeared on screen, she waved and said, "I can't wait to read our story." They began to read aloud. Marcus's voice carried over the speaker, smooth and calm. Ella's heart beat in time with his words. They took turns, reading about faraway places and imagined adventures. When Marcus read Ella's paragraph, he paused and said, "This makes me feel like I'm back under the oak tree." Ella smiled and said, "That's exactly why I wrote it." The call did not freeze this time. The video connection held steady, as if the universe itself helped them. They laughed when a typo caused a funny moment. The oak tree wore a crown of spaghetti instead of sepia. Marcus teased Ella gently, and she giggled. The sadness she had felt melted away. After they finished reading, Marcus said, "Ella, this story project is amazing. I feel part of a group again. Thank you." Ella's chest filled with warmth. She replied, "Thank you for joining. Your words mean so much." Over the next week, Ella continued to work on the shared story. She edited small errors and added pictures. A photo of the oak tree, a drawing of Marcus's seaside view, and snapshots from her friends. Each image reminded her that distance was not a wall, but a path leading to new experiences. She wrote a blog update. We made something beautiful together. Then Ella had another idea. She would create a digital time capsule. She collected emails, photos, voice recordings, and the shared story document. She used an online service to bundle them into a file that would arrive in Marcus's inbox on Marcus's birthday. Ella scheduled the delivery for that day and marked it on her calendar with a small heart sticker. Marcus's birthday came in a flurry of messages and celebrations. Ella watched his video story as he opened the time capsule file. His room was decorated with small lights, and he wore a party hat, tilted at a jaunty angle. He clicked through the photos and documents and stopped at Ella's message. Happy birthday, friend. I hope these memories bring you joy. Marcus looked at the camera with misty eyes. He said, Ella, this is the best gift. I feel your care across the miles. I can almost hug you. Ella's own eyes filled with tears. She mouthed, I hug. You too, and blew a kiss. That night, Ella lay in bed feeling both peaceful and proud. She thought of how far she had come, from lonely messages to shared stories and time capsules. She realized that human hope was not just a feeling, but a set of actions, small steps taken with courage. She whispered into the darkness, We did it, Marcus. As sleep called to her, Ella dreamed of walking down the path to Marcus's door. In her dream, the ocean wind mixed with leaves. Ella woke to a sky painted in soft pink and gold. Today was part 5 of her plan to stay close to Marcus. She sat on her bed and opened her journal. She wrote, I need something new to do together. She tapped her pen against the paper, thinking of all the ways humans connect. Then she smiled. She would invite Marcus into a simple online game world she loved, one where they could explore, build, and share adventures. Even if the screen separated them, they could still walk side by side in a virtual forest. She logged into the game. The welcome screen showed rolling hills and tall trees. Ella picked her favorite character, a brave explorer with a green cloak. She named him Olive. Next, she created a private game server and set a password. Then she sent Marcus a message. Join me in Forest Quest tonight at 7 p.m. your time. Let's explore together. She pressed send and felt her heart beat faster. This was her HFY spirit shining, finding new ways to connect. All afternoon, Ella thought about their first quest. She gathered supplies in the game. Wooden torches, a map, and simple tools. She built a small cabin near a stream, marking their meeting spot. She arranged flowers and painted the walls in bright colors. Each block she placed felt like a note in a song. By evening, the cabin glowed under virtual lanterns. Ella stood back and admired her work. She whispered, I hope you like it, Marcus. At 7 p.m. in Marcus's time zone, Ella's game screen lit up with his arrival. His character appeared on the path carrying a wooden shield. He waved. Ella waved back, feeling her real smile grow. Hi, Marcus, she typed in the chat box. Welcome to Forest Quest. They stepped into the virtual woods. Tall trees arched overhead and virtual birds sang. Ella guided Marcus along the stream, pointing out hidden caves and bright mushrooms. Marcus marveled at the cabin she built. It looks just like our oak tree park, he wrote. Ella laughed. I tried to capture our memories here, she replied. Together, they explored rolling hills, climbed stone cliffs, and rowed a small boat across a clear lake. Their avatars moved side by side. Their voices sounded on the game's simple voice chat. As they played, Ella felt the sadness lift. She heard Marcus's laughter when a wolf ran past, and she helped him light a torch to see in the dark cave. When they found a hidden treasure chest, they opened it together and cheered. For a moment, the miles between them disappeared. Ella believed again that human creativity could bridge any distance. After exploring, they returned to the cabin, Marcus wrote. Thank you, Ella. This world feels like home with you here. Ella's chest warmed at his words. Glad I will keep building more places for us. Then she shared her next idea. They would create a garden filled with flowers from her side of the world and seeds he had sent from his. Marcus agreed eagerly. They spent the rest of the session planting virtual flowers, bright red poppies, sunny yellow daisies, and soft bluebells. They even planted virtual oak saplings to remind them of the real tree. When it was time to log off, they stood at the cabin door and waved. Marcus said, "Good night, Ella. See you in our forest." Ella replied, "Good night, Marcus. Sweet dreams." She closed the game and leaned back. Her eyes were bright. She felt hope stronger than ever. Ella added a new entry to her journal. "We built a world together tonight. We shared laughter and treasure. I feel close to him again." She closed the book and looked at her calendar. Only 3 months until. Her planned visit and her savings fund was growing. She felt proud of her steady steps. Over the next days, Ella continued her HFY plan. She wrote blog posts about their virtual world, adding screenshots of the cabin and the garden. Friends commented with suggestions for new builds: a waterfall, a tower, even a hidden library. Ella invited Marcus to join new sessions, and each time their world grew richer. She felt their bond deepen with every block placed and every shared laugh. One morning, Ella found an email from Marcus. He had surprised her with a small gift, a virtual oak tree sapling that he had coded himself. When she logged into the game, the sapling glowed with a soft light in the cabin's garden. Ella gasped. She typed, "Marcus, this is amazing." He replied, "I wanted to bring our tree into our world." Ella's heart filled with joy. That night, Ella stood under her real oak tree in the park. She touched its bark and whispered, "Our world grows strong." She thought of Olive the explorer and her own courage to try new things. She realized that human hope was more than a feeling. It was action, invention, and love. In practice, Ella walked home under the stars. She carried her hope forward, knowing that soon she would stand beside Marcus in real life. Until then, their virtual forest would keep them close. And one day, their journey, both digital and real, would meet under the leaves of the oak tree. They loved *. The wind blew softly through the trees outside Ella's window as she sat at her desk, staring at her calendar. Her heart ached a little. It had been over 4 months since Marcus moved away. Though they messaged, played games, and shared video calls, Ella still missed being with him in person. She missed walking beside him, laughing without lag or screen. Freezes. Some days it still felt like he was on the other side of the galaxy. She had saved nearly enough money for her trip. Only a few more weeks, and she would see Marcus again. But today the waiting felt heavier. The virtual cabin they built now stood quiet. Marcus was busy with exams and hadn't logged in for a few days. Ella understood, but still, the silence made her feel far away again. She wrapped her scarf tightly and walked to the park. The oak tree stood bare in winter, its branches reaching toward a pale sky. She sat on the cold bench and closed her eyes. The memories came as Marcus laughing at a squirrel, sketching silly faces in his notebook, sharing cookies from the bakery nearby. Ella felt the sting of tears but wiped them away quickly. "I miss you," she whispered into the wind. Suddenly a small idea came to her. Something simple, something real. She would write a song. Ella wasn't a great singer, but she loved making up melodies. Marcus used to hum tunes with her during walks, turning raindrops into rhythm. She smiled just remembering it. If she couldn't talk to him today, maybe she could sing her feelings instead. That evening, Ella pulled out her old guitar. It was dusty and the strings needed tuning, but the sound still warmed her heart. She sat cross-legged on her bedroom. Florin began strumming soft chords. She sang about the oak tree, their long-distance calls, and the way it felt to be close in heart, even when far in miles. The lyrics weren't perfect, but they were hers. She recorded the song on her phone, her voice shaky at first, then stronger. By the end, she was smiling. She had poured her sadness and hope into something real. She named the song Still Under the Same Sky. After saving the recording, she sent it to Marcus with a short message. "I wrote this today. I miss you. Maybe this could bring me a little closer to you." She placed the phone down and waited. Her fingers tapped nervously on the table. The minutes passed slowly. She began to wonder if it was silly, if he would even have time to listen. But half an hour later, her phone buzzed. "Marcus. Ella. I don't know what to say. I listened 3 times. I cried. It's beautiful. I miss you too. It's made me feel like you were right here beside me. Tears welled up in Ella's eyes, not from sadness, but from the joy of being understood. She replied with just 2 words, "Thank you." The next day, Marcus sent her something unexpected, a short video clip. In it, he played a melody on his piano, one that matched the tune of her song. At the end, he looked into the camera and said, "Maybe we'll finish the song together when you get here." Ella played the clip again and again, her heart glowing. This was what human spirit meant, turning pain into something beautiful, finding new ways to connect, and never giving up. Inspired, Ella made a plan for the next 2 weeks. She would write a small song or poem every day. She called it her countdown of hope. Each day she would post a short video or recording on her blog. She invited her readers to join and share their own hopeful creations. The response surprised her. People from different cities, even different countries, began to post their own songs, drawings, and short poems about missing someone they loved. One girl wrote about her father working overseas. A boy shared a painting of the stars he and his sister used to watch before she moved away. Hope spread like firelight in the night. Marcus followed the countdown every day. He commented, sent encouraging notes, and even recorded a small poem of his own about the scent of cinnamon rolls Ella used to bring him from the market. Through every post, Ella felt more connected, not just to Marcus, but to others too. She saw how people everywhere missed someone. She realized that feeling distant didn't mean love had ended. It only meant love had to work a little harder, stretch a little farther. And humans were good at that. On the final day of her countdown, Ella stood under the oak tree again, wore her green scarf, and held her phone high. She sang the last verse of her song, her breath visible in the cold air. When she finished, she smiled and whispered, "I'll see you soon." The next morning, she bought her plane ticket. Her heart beat fast as she pressed the button. It was really happening. As the snow fell softly outside her window, Ella felt stronger than ever. She had faced the quiet, the distance, and the loneliness, and she had answered it with music, hope, and human courage. She wasn't just waiting anymore. She was moving forward. One song. The airport was loud and busy, full of people hugging, laughing, and saying goodbye. Ella stood quietly by the large glass window, holding her small travel bag. Her flight would leave in just 1 hour. After months of waiting, saving, and hoping, she was finally going to see Marcus again. Still, her hands trembled a little. What if it felt different in person? What if time and distance had changed things? They had stayed connected through letters, games, video calls, and songs. But now, she would be standing face to face with him. It both thrilled and scared her. She took a deep breath and pulled out her journal. On the last page, she had written one sentence in large, hopeful letters. "Real connection never fades, it grows stronger." That had been her belief through it all. When everything felt quiet and lonely, she kept that line in her heart. Now, it was time to trust it again. The flight was long, and Ella looked out the window as clouds rolled past. She thought about the oak tree back home. How many times had she stood beneath it and whispered her hopes? Now she was crossing the ocean to find the other half of those dreams. When the plane landed, Ella's heart pounded. The airport looked bright and unfamiliar. But she saw a familiar figure standing just beyond the arrival gate. Marcus. His hair was a little longer, and he wore the green scarf she had sent. Months ago, when their eyes met, they both froze, then smiled. Ella walked quickly, her feet light. Marcus stepped forward. For a moment, they simply stood there, looking at each other. Then, without a word, they hugged tightly. The months of distance melted in that single moment. Tears shimmered in both their eyes, but they laughed through them. "I can't believe you're here," Marcus whispered. "I told you I'd come," Ella said softly. That afternoon, they walked through Marcus's new city. He showed her the ocean view from his window, the bakery where he bought morning bread, and the little park with quiet benches under wide trees. They talked like they always used to, finishing each other's sentences, laughing at old jokes, and sharing stories. "I followed your song countdown every day," Marcus said as they sat by the sea. "It helped me more than you know." Ella smiled. "It helped me too." Each word brought me closer to this moment. The next day, Marcus took Ella to a music cafe where people could perform live. He nudged her and whispered, "You should sing your song." Ella's eyes widened. "Here now. You already shared it with the world. Now share it with the room." Her heart raced, but she stood up. She walked to the small stage, guitar in hand. The lights were soft. The room fell quiet. She looked at Marcus sitting in the front row and smiled. Then she began to play. Her voice filled the room with gentle notes. The song spoke of distance, courage, and finding each other again. She sang the final line, asterisk, asterisk, still under the same sky, I'll find you. Asterisk, asterisk. The room stayed silent for a long moment, then clapped gently. Ella stepped down, and Marcus stood up to hug her. "That was beautiful," he whispered, "just like you." In the days that followed, Ella and Marcus explored, talked, cooked meals together, and even added new places to their shared virtual game world. They visited a music store and wrote a short song together, called it The Space Between, a song about distance and reunion. But what made it truly special wasn't the activities, it was the feeling. The closeness they had built, despite being far apart for months, had grown stronger. Ella realized that their connection had not been paused during the time apart. It had been growing quietly, like roots underground. On her last night in the city, Ella and Marcus stood on the rooftop of his apartment, looking up at the stars. The sky was dark, filled with tiny lights. Ella held his hand. "I'll miss you," she said. "I'll miss you too," he replied. "But I don't feel so far anymore." Ella nodded, "Because we've learned how to stay close even from far away." As the stars shimmered above them, Ella smiled. She had learned something powerful. The human spirit, her HFY, was not only about facing challenges or being brave. It was about keeping love alive across space and time. It was about writing songs when words failed, creating new worlds when old ones felt empty, and holding on to hope no matter how quiet the days became. She would go home tomorrow, but she would carry this visit in her heart, and she knew Marcus would do the same. Under the night sky, they whispered their promise. No matter where we are, we'll never lose each other. And as Ella looked up at the stars, she felt strong, certain, and full of hope. Her journey wasn't just across miles, it had been a journey of the heart, and she had made it.